Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron. Welcome back today to another live stream. It is deadline day. We are back with the latest Everton news and rumours on deadline day. We did the video a little bit earlier on this afternoon where we spoke about Alex Iwobi and his move to Fulham. We also talked a little bit about potential incomings, Wilfried Gnonto, Kamaldeen Sulemana, Maxwell Cornet as well in that video, and we said that surely by around about 4 p.m. we'd have some form of update on some of these transfers, whether it be Alex Iwobi's move, whether it be a potential deal for Wilfried Gnonto, that we'd be able to sit down and talk about. Well, we have had an update regarding Wilfried Gnonto. In fact, we've had multiple updates regarding Wilfried Gnonto. The latest is coming from Shamoun Hafiz of the BBC, who is reporting that Everton have had a £25.7 million bid rejected for Wilfried Gnonto last night. Still short of Leeds United's £30 million valuation, Everton are not willing to go any higher. So if you were to believe the BBC and Shamoun Hafiz, who is quite a present journalist when it comes to transfer news and has been quite present with a lot of transfer news over the last sort of 5-6 weeks or so. He is reporting that Everton's bid of £25.7 million was rejected last night by Leeds United. Their valuation for Wilfried Gnonto is said to be around £30 million, and Everton are not willing to go any higher than that bid. So if that is to be believed, Everton's final bid for Wilfried Gnonto has been rejected. Now, we are in a situation at the moment with it being deadline day, with Everton looking more and more likely to lose the likes of Alex Iwobi, Tom Cannon, who's set to join Leicester City as well. We obviously don't know what's going on with Demarai Gray yet, but the assumption is that he will leave the football club at some point over the coming hours, or maybe over the next few days or so. We know the Saudi transfer window is still open, I think, for another week after today. So we are in a position where situations are constantly changing, and whilst you might have a report at 4 o'clock in the afternoon stating that a player is not for sale and a club isn't willing to bid any higher than what they already have, by 6 o'clock that might be absolutely thrown out the window, and a club might have changed their mind, and Everton might, in this case, to use this as an example, Everton might turn around at 6 o'clock and go, no, do you know what, whatever, we will pay the £30 million because we want to get him in and we need to get him in. As I said, whether or not that happens is to be seen. For me, if I was Everton now and I had my choice, I'd walk away from Wilfried Gnonto. I think we've persisted with this transfer for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and Leeds United have always had the same standpoint with Wilfried Gnonto, and that is that he's not for sale. They haven't changed that standpoint, at any stage. And whilst I don't think it's as sort of as plain as that, as he's not for sale. I think he is for sale, because if he wasn't for sale, then they wouldn't be entertaining talks with Everton, and Everton certainly wouldn't be continuing to try and make that deal happen if it was as bland as he's not for sale. So he very clearly is for sale. The reality of the situation is he's for sale for a certain price, and Everton don't want to pay that price. And if Leeds United aren't willing to drop their asking price, which seems to be £30 million, and it doesn't look like they're likely to drop that before 11 p.m. tonight, then Everton have to move on. Everton have got a decision to make. You either pay the £30 million that Leeds are asking for, or you move on and go and target other options. Kamaldeen Sulemana is a name that has been brought up. Maxwell Cornet is a name that has been brought up. So it's not a difficult decision for me from Everton Football Club. You either decide to pay the money, which is a lot of money for a player that, has only had very little experience in the Premier League. Obviously, he played last season, scored a couple of goals, done okay, but, did he do £30 million well enough? I'm not quite sure. He obviously would be one for the future. He'd obviously be a player coming in, with the view that he would come in, improve Everton, and, Everton would get some form of profit on him in the next few years or so if they were to sell him. However, that, of course, would still be a massive, massive risk to spend £30 million on a player that scored, a couple of Premier League goals last season at that. So, yeah, for me, it's simple. Everton either decide to meet the valuation of £30 million and not, don't bid 27 million now, don't bid 28 million, if you were going to go in with a final offer, and it hasn't been labelled as a final offer, I've labelled it as a final offer because the BBC are reporting that Everton will not go any higher than the bid that they have just had rejected. So that would mean that the bid they have just had rejected would be their final offer. But if Everton do manage to change their mind over the course of the next couple of hours or so and do decide to go in with another offer, then it has to be £30 million for me for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because that is the valuation for Wilfried Gnonto. So if Leeds United are stating that they will not accept anything less than the valuation, then if we bid £30 million, surely they will accept that. But also, if Leeds then start messing you about and saying, well, no, our valuation has actually gone up over the last couple of hours, then you walk away and go, well, it's quite evident that we're not going to come to any form of agreement with this, so we're going to move on to other targets. Me, personally, I'd move on to other targets now. Everton are absolutely desperate for a winger, desperate for a right winger, but certainly desperate for a winger in the next sort of, 5 hours or so of the deadline. It's 4 o'clock now, so the transfer window shuts at 11 o'clock at night. So where does that leave us? My maths is absolutely shocking. 7 hours of the transfer window left to make deals happen. If Everton are still sort of receiving the cold shoulder from Leeds United regarding this Gnonto situation, and they're not willing to drop their, they're not willing to bid any more than the 25.7 million that they've already bid, then I think it's about time we walk away and we go and look at other options, whether that's Suleimana, whether that's Sinisterra, whether that's Maxwell Cornet. We need to bring in a winger this window, and we can't afford to sit on our hands for another 6 hours hoping that Leeds will turn around and go, actually, do you know what? Yeah, we've changed our mind. You can have Wilfried Gnonto. So, in terms of the Gnonto situation, that is where we are at, according to the BBC. Everton have had a £25.7 million bid rejected last night. It's short of Leeds' £30 million valuation, and Everton are not set to go any higher than the bid they have already put in. So that, for me, means that the Gnonto situation is now done and dusted. He won't be signing for Everton, and we need to move on. Just a word on Luis Sinisterra, who is another player that Everton have been linked with, of course, of Leeds United. Fabrizio Romano was tweeted 12 minutes ago that Bournemouth have reached an agreement to sign Luis Sinisterra from Leeds United. The deal is being finalised between the two clubs, and the player has already accepted. So there you go. Everton wouldn't have been able to loan him anyway. Apparently, the deal for him to join Bournemouth would be a loan. Everton wouldn't be able to loan him because we've signed Jack Harrison, and you can't sign two players on loan from the same club, I don't believe. So yeah, if that's a loan move, Everton wouldn't have been able to get it done anyway. The Echo are reporting that several clubs have approached Leeds United for Luis Sinisterra. However, Everton are not thought to be amongst the recent inquiries, probably because those inquiries are regarding a loan deal. Everton obviously cannot loan Sinisterra, and the Echo are also reporting that Everton have an interest in Fulham midfielder Harrison Reed. However, Wolves are thought to be the strongest in position for his signature. So, yeah, we'll wait and see how that one goes. Fraser Fletcher, who, again, similarly to Shamoun Hafiz, has been quite a prominent sort of figure when it comes to transfer news and rumours in this summer transfer window. He reported about an hour ago that Everton talks with Leeds over Wilfried Gnonto have stopped. There was another report from Gianluigi Longali, who is an Italian journalist. He reported that Leeds United will keep Wilfried Gnonto this summer transfer window. Phil Hay, who is a Leeds reporter for The Athletic, again, very, very, very reliable source. He stated an hour ago that Everton have currently not met Leeds United's valuation for Wilfried Gnonto. So it looks at the moment very much like Wilfried Gnonto will be remaining at Leeds United. There was a few reports earlier on in the day to suggest that Everton were closing in on a deal, but as I said, a lot of those reports have been rubbished over the last couple of hours or so. Phil McNulty saying Leeds are determined there will be no departure for Wilfried Gnonto, but then, or any other winger today, and obviously we've seen that Luis Sinisterra is set to leave, so that isn't strictly true, but it very much seems like Wilfried Gnonto at this current moment will be remaining at Leeds United. Yeah, like I said, for me, this is a very simple situation for Everton to deal with. Everton have now got to go and move on to another target. Now, whether that other target is Kamaldeen Sulemana at Southampton, I'm going to assume that won't be the easiest deal to get done, because he's somebody that they spent an awful lot of money on. He's somebody that features for them quite frequently, and obviously, as I said, we've got 7 hours of the deadline day window to go. So if Everton are wanting to sign Sulemana, I would suggest they act really quickly in terms of trying to get that ball rolling, because I don't think that's the type of deal that you're going to be able to get done over the course of an hour. Maxwell Cornet is another name that has been heavily linked with a move to Everton. I think that one is more likely to be done over the next few hours or so. It's an easier deal to do. West Ham apparently are wanting to allow him to leave on loan, or willing to let him leave on loan. Again, somebody that impressed massively for me when he was at Burnley, but since moving to West Ham, just hasn't really seemed to to hit the ground running. He's had injury issues. He's played in different positions. He just hasn't seemed to take that step up from what he was at Burnley into West Ham United. He did win a trophy at West Ham, of course, last season, but yeah, again, like I said, I think that move seems like the easiest move to make for Everton in the next few hours or so. West Ham don't seem particularly keen on keeping him. I think he'd be open for the move, and if it could be a loan move, then obviously that would benefit Everton massively as well, because there would be no money leaving the football club. So again, it seems like, the way things are being reported, it seems like Maxwell Cornet is a sort of last resort. It's very, very evident that Wilfred Gnonto is the number one target. As I've just said, the latest on Wilfred Gnonto is that at this moment he looks set to stay at Leeds, as Everton's bid of £25.7 million has been rejected, and Everton have stated that they will not go any higher than that. As I've said before, things can change, and things do change on deadline day, and don't be surprised if Everton do throw a £30 million bid in later tonight, because they've changed, and maybe they just said they don't want to go any higher in an attempt to have Leeds drop their valuation. And if that doesn't work, maybe Everton will just go, do you know what, here's the £30 million, have it. Or maybe Everton are genuinely not wanting to go any higher than the money that they've bid already, and maybe they'll now walk away and go and focus on other players. We don't know. We will wait and see. But like I said, for me, if it's true that the club have no intention of upping that bid, then we need to move away sooner rather than later, because there's 7 hours left to go and bring in a winger, and we have already, pardon me, wasted far too much time on Wilfred Gnonto for him to not come to the football club. If he doesn't want to come to the football club, or if Leeds don't want to sell him, then Everton have got to move on. Another bit of breaking news that we've had over the last sort of hour or so. According to Sky Sports News, Neal Maupay is on his way to Brentford on loan. This was first broken by Fabrizio Romano, who said Brentford have reached verbal agreement to sign Neal Maupay on loan with buy option from Everton. Player on his way to medical tests right now. Again, bit of a shocking one, this. Not necessarily shocking because Neal Maupay will be leaving Everton Football Club, because ultimately I think a lot of people will have expected Neal Maupay to leave this summer transfer window, but I don't think there will have been many people that would have thought he would go back to Brentford. Brentford obviously are struggling at the moment to sort of bring in a forward. They've had a couple of bids rejected for a couple of different players. I think they had one rejected for Bakayoko at PSV earlier on today as well. So they're obviously, running around and scrummaging around for last minute deals at the moment. Maupay, of course, is a player that has played there before, played there in the Championship and done quite well in the Championship before he went to Brighton. And it seems like they're wanting to bring him back for a season-long loan. Yeah. Again, is it slightly concerning that Everton could be in a position where they lose Alex Iwobi, Tom Cannon, Neal Maupay and Damari Gray in the same day without actually bringing in any form of replacement? Maybe. I don't think the loss of Neal Maupay is necessarily something to massively worry about for Everton. Everton have brought in Yusuf Chamiti, of course, over the last couple of weeks. We've also brought in Beto over the last couple of weeks, and it's become quite evident that Neal Maupay's position in this team and in this squad, is not as strong as it once was. I understand the worry and the anxiety about letting Alex Iwobi leave the football club with no replacement. I understand the worry and the anxiety about letting Damari Gray leave the football club with no replacement. Neal Maupay, not so much for me. Not so much for me. I think when you look at the options that Everton have got in that area, when everybody is fully fit, you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you've got Beto, you've got Yusuf Chamiti, and then you've probably got Danjuma, who are all options that would be preferred to Neal Maupay. Now, I actually think Neal Maupay done well when he come on against Doncaster the other day. I think it was probably his best, moments in an Everton shirt. He obviously set up Danjuma's goal. His hold-up play was good, and I think when he isn't used as a striker and he's not being relied on to score goals, I actually think he's probably a relatively okay squad creative player. Having said that, ultimately he's somebody that will want first team football. He's somebody that isn't going to get that at Everton. He obviously wasn't brought on until later on in the game against Doncaster. Obviously the manager preferred Beto to him. The manager preferred Yusuf Chamiti to start over him. He wasn't brought on at all against Wolves the week before. So if he is wanting first team football, if he is wanting to go somewhere where he's going to play every week, then he isn't going to get that at Everton. And ultimately, I don't think many people would have been disappointed if you'd have said 2 weeks ago Neal Maupay will leave the football club on deadline day. Could we do with getting players in? Yes, I don't think we necessarily need players to come in and replace Neal Maupay, for example. I don't think we need to now bring in another striker, but I do think we need to bring in a winger. I do think we need to bring in a creative midfielder. For me, personally, I'd like 2 wingers. That isn't going to happen. I don't even think we'll sign 2 players in today's deadline day, but it's definitely interesting that Brentford are taking that risk on Neal Maupay. Brentford obviously are a club in a very good position at the moment in terms of their Premier League status. They've obviously lost Ivan Toney over the last few months or so and will be without him till January, and maybe even further than that, dependent on if he leaves the football club, which there have been a lot of rumours about. So yeah, Neal Maupay looks set to rejoin his old club. Wish him the best of luck. Obviously, he won't be able to play against Everton, so it doesn't matter whether or not he does great or he doesn't. But for his sake, I wish him the best of luck because, yeah, ultimately, he's wanting to go and play football. He's wanting to go and play first-team football, and Brentford are willing to give him that opportunity. It's a bit of a mad one. I didn't think it would happen, but, it seems like that's all on course to go ahead. So at the moment, just in terms of where we are currently, as of 11 minutes past 4 on deadline day, Alex Iwobi looks set to join Fulham for a move that is rumoured to be in the region of £22 million, including add-ons. Neal Maupay looks set to join Brentford on loan with an option to buy at the end of it. Tom Cannon looks set to join Leicester City for £7.5 million. And that is pretty much where we're at in terms of outgoings. There's rumours about Damari Gray, there's rumours about Jean-Philippe Gbamin, there's rumours about Andre Gomez, but as of in terms of deals that look set to be completed, those 3 are the moves that are currently in position to be completed. In terms of incomings, we're just seemingly on the Wilfred Gnonto merry-go-round as we have been in the last 6 months. Fraser Fletcher reported that Everton and Leeds are still at an impasse with Wilfred Gnonto, with talks again at a standstill. There was no deal agreed earlier despite other reports. That was an hour ago, so that was before the report of Everton's final bid being rejected. Pardon me. Fraser Fletcher also reported that Everton's talks with Leeds over Wilfred Gnonto have stopped. Alan Myers and Sky report on that Maupay is on his way to Brentford for on loan. I believe he's having a medical as we speak. It does have an option to buy on that deal. Bobble reporting that Tom Cannon has now completed his medical ahead of a permanent move to Leicester City, so that one is set to be announced at any point now. And that is pretty much where we are at with transfer news. Daniel Farke has been talking about Wilfred Gnonto, Sinisterra and Somerville. He said he was pretty confident they will all be there by the time the 11 p.m. deadline passes tonight. He did also say in this business you can never give a 100% guarantee. So Daniel Farke is pretty much saying everything at the moment. He's pretty much saying, yes, they're staying, but I'm not guaranteed they're staying at the same time. But it looks like from other reports that Gnonto to Everton is very much at a standstill at the moment. We haven't heard any other news about Alex Iwobi's move to Fulham. The latest on that is he is in London for his medical, and I'm sure that one will be completed and announced over the course of the next couple of hours or so. Similarly with Neil Maupay's move to Brentford, and like I said, the latest in terms of potential incomings is that Everton have an interest in Fulham midfielder Harrison Reed. However, Wolves are thought to be in the strongest position. So yeah, doesn't look like Wilfried Gnonto will be coming at this point. Things can change, and I'm sure things will change because they do often change on deadline day. I might, I might end this stream, I might get in my car, I might drive to my girlfriend's, I might get out, and all of a sudden Wilfried Gnonto might be on his way to Everton for the medical. Who knows? We literally started the video earlier on today by talking about how Alex Iwobi hadn't agreed a fee with Fulham yet, or Everton hadn't agreed a fee with Fulham yet, and we ended the video by saying a fee has been agreed. So things are changing all the time, things are moving, things are, are going ahead, and I'm sure if we do another update at 7, 8 o'clock tonight, I'm sure we'll have another, bit of information to talk about that we haven't spoken about now. So, yeah, we'll wait and see how these progress. If you were to ask me if I was to give a confident percentage on Wilfried Gnonto signing for Everton, I would say 1% at the moment, because all the roads are sort of leading to Everton not putting in another bid. However, Everton might be in a position where Tom Cannon's move is announced in the next few hours, Iwobi's move is announced in the next few hours, and Everton might say, do you know what, for the sake of an extra 4.2 million quid or whatever it is, here's your 30 million, let's get it done. But what I would say is Everton shouldn't be sitting waiting around thinking, we're undecided on Gnonto. Yeah, make that decision now. Make that decision now, or go and bring in Maxwell Cornet on loan if that's a relatively simple deal to do. Go and see if you can bring in Suleimane on loan, or if that's going to be a permanent deal, how much that's going to cost. There's no problem with getting one or two in now, getting Cornet in now, or getting Suleimane in now, and then going again for Gnonto in the next couple of hours. I don't think that will happen, because I can't see us bringing in Gnonto and somebody else. But what I'm saying is, don't sit on your hands undecided about Gnonto, or wait for Leeds to make a move on Gnonto. If that's your final bid and you ain't going to bid anymore, walk away, go to another target and go and bring somebody else in. Sinisterra going on loan, says Stoddy. Yes, he is going to Bournemouth apparently. Kevin says, get in, mate. Sean says, Sinisterra on loan to Bournemouth. Missed that one. Well, we wouldn't have been able to get him on loan anyway, because we've got Jack Harrison on loan from Leeds, and you can't loan more than one player from one club at the same time. So he wouldn't have been able to come in on loan anyway. We would have had to, obviously send Jack Harrison back, and I highly doubt that would have happened. And in terms of a permanent deal, I believe they wanted £40-odd million for him, so that would have been a difficult one to complete as well. Maupay's going to go, says Sol Potato. It looks like it. Hello Cam, says Ollie. James says, wasted too much time today on this. Get no one now. I think we will. I think, as a bare minimum, I think Everton will sign Maxwell Cornet today. As a bare minimum, he will be the last resort, which isn't great because, ultimately no player wants to feel like they're the last resort. But I think he will be the last resort. I think we will go for Suleimane, and if that doesn't come off, I think we will then go for Maxwell Cornet. If that does come off, then Suleimane will be the name. But at the moment, there's no news about Suleimane. There's no news about Maxwell Cornet. It's all focused on Wilfried Gnonto. Pablo says, typical Everton can only work on one deal that falls through and end up with nobody. We need at least 3. That is not happening. Everton, a disgrace. Yeah, we're not signing 3 today. We're absolutely not signing 3. I think I expect 1, and I will be massively disappointed if we don't bring in at least 1. I would like 2. But how likely can I see Everton bringing in 2 players in the next 7 hours? Not massively likely, I'll be honest. It could happen. Everton could, as I said, Everton might have Maxwell Cornet there, for example, who's a relatively easy deal to do, and they can get that one done in a couple of hours. So Everton might get that one in, and then they might move for Harrison Reed, or they might still move for Wilfried Gnonto or Suleimane, sorry. But yeah, we're not getting 3 in. Fat Wallet says, please Everton walk away from Gnonto saga. £25 million is even too much in my opinion. Let's not be taken. I agree. To be fair, I agree. I think the money that Everton have already bid is, an inflated price already for Wilfried Gnonto. £25 million is a lot of money for what Wilfried Gnonto is at the moment. To go any higher than that, would be screaming, let's just get this deal done because we've worked on it for that long that we just want to get it done, and that isn't necessarily the best way to do business. Never says we need at least 2 more players today. I'm watching your great channel at 12:40 a.m. in Adelaide, South Australia. Come on, you toffees. And thank you very much, my mate. I really, really do appreciate that. That means a massive amount to me. Mike says, can't believe we've spent so much time on Gnonto to walk away over a few million. Don't think this is over. Well, that's what I'm sort of thinking. I'm sort of thinking if there is a £4 million difference and Everton are getting £7.5 million in from Tom Cannon, and Everton are expecting to get 22 pardon me £22 million in from Alex Iwobi, potentially 10-15 in from Demarai Gray, then I do question whether or not this is the last of the Gnonto stuff. I'll be honest. Pardon me. My throat just decided to not work at all then. Sonny says, think we will get someone. I think we will get someone. I don't know who, but I do think we'll get someone. Everton not signing anyone, says Atiba. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Carl says, we won't do anything, mate. We all know this. No money spent this window and 30 recouped. No money spent? Well, We've spent money on Beto. We've spent money on Yusuf Chamiti. We haven't yet made that money for Iwobi because we haven't yet sold him, but yeah. Everton should sign Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay, says Samuel. We haven't got enough money for that. Alias seems to think Wilfred is on his way. Not on his way to Everton, he isn't. Certainly not at the moment. Whether or not he is on his way to Everton over the next coming hours, we will wait and see. What I would say is, and I said this before, and I think it's important to say it again, is if Everton are to sell Alex Iwobi today, we absolutely need to replace him. We can maybe get away with not replacing Maupay because of the other players in the squad. We can maybe get away with not replacing Demarai Gray, even though I don't think we can. But we definitely can't get away with not replacing Alex Iwobi. It would be very, very silly to allow him to leave the football club. I understand, his stats haven't, in terms of his goals and assists, they haven't been particularly great in recent years. I understand that he is, for the majority of his time at Everton, he's been disappointing. But we still need to replace that player if he leaves the football club. It's as simple as that. The Knights side says 22 million for Iwobi ain't bad business. 12 months on, he would have gone for free, and a big loss for us like Balassi. Yeah, I've not got any real big issue with the Iwobi move. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think financially it makes sense. I think business-wise it makes sense. I would have liked it to have happened earlier on in the transfer window so we can actually go and bring in a replacement. And I still think Everton, as I've just said, absolutely need to replace Alex Iwobi if they sell him. But in terms of £22 million for a player in the last 10 months of his contract who doesn't want to stay at the football club, yeah, that for me is not a bad deal at all. James says you sound ill. I'm not ill, mate. I've just had a busy week and I've got a bit of a tickly throat at the moment, but I'm not ill. I'm absolutely fine. I'm absolutely fine, trust me. Everyone hit the like button. Thank you very much, my mate. Really appreciate that. So yeah, there you go. That is the latest as of the moment. As of now, Wilfred Gnonto will not be joining Everton. That could change in the next few hours or so, but as of now, he is a Leeds United player and will remain. Neil Maupay is on his way to Brentford to complete a loan move with an option to buy. Alex Iwobi is still completing his move to Fulham as well. And that is the latest news. We will be back as and when something breaks over the next couple of hours or so. If you haven't checked out our previous Deadline Day videos, please go and check those out. We've uploaded a couple today, and we've also uploaded our game preview to the Sheffield United game tomorrow, so go and check that one out as well. But until next time, probably in an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, we'll wait and see. Big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new as well. Up the toffees, and let's hope, that we can bring somebody in. At least one. I'd love to, but at least one. Don't let us do another Deadline Day where we're linked with all sorts. We sell a couple of players and we don't bring anybody in. Let's bring at least one in. Big thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon.